What is the definition of success for modern day men?
To me, success is understanding what you're here on earth to do. If your life is fucked and you got heaps of money, your life's still shit. You can't have high standards without having clarity. Here's the truth that no one wants to hear. Your life is shit because you're shit.
How do you help high performing men, business owners, people create clarity?
Most people want clarity, but they don't put the time and effort into getting clear. As they start to get clear, they can look back at life and go, shit, the path was always in front of me. I just got confused and lost.
How do you find out what someone's values are? How do we find out what our own values are?
I'll get them to write down what an average week looks like. There's your values. People who don't have money normally don't have value. I turned 30 and our business was still struggling and I was like, man, I'm a piece of shit. Then within 12 months, I've already got my first supercar after that. But it didn't shift within 12 months. It shifted because of all the work that I'd put in from 21 to 30. It was a 10 years of work that made it look like everything shifted overnight. Most people lie to themselves. I only work because I have to make money in order to support my family. Bullshit. You work because you enjoy working and you enjoy supporting your family, and those two things are valued to you. Second thing is that
Michael Mojo Johnson, you drive supercars, you have a very successful business, an amazing team, a marriage that's on fire in a good way. What is the definition of success for modern day men? Why do so many of us struggle to achieve it? But how would you define success and why does no one achieve it?
Great question. And when you say my relationship's on fire, that depends on the day. Some days it's on fire and out of control, and other days it's on fire in a good way and it keeps everything nice and warm.
Love it.
Like all relationships, I guess. Look, to me, success is understanding what you're here on earth to do, right? Ever since I was a young kid, I was excluded from groups and things like that. And I always used to sit there and go like, why are the cool kids cool? Why don't I fit into that group? Like how do, and so I just observed. I was very inquisitive and, for me, over time, I just realized that I was pretty much shit at everything apart from certain things. And the thing that I was really, really good at was understanding human behavior. And so I'll follow that path. And there's another quote, and I don't know whose quote it is. I probably should look it up, but it's the path illuminates as you walk it. And so I just started walking that path, and then, the path keeps illuminating as you walk it, and you get clearer and clearer with what you want to do and your place in this earth. And I think that's what success is. I think too many people define it as like money and whatever, but really money's an exchange of value. If your life is fucked and you got heaps of money, your life's still shit. And these are a lot of the principles that I talk to a lot of my community. I work with a lot of business owners, a lot of executives and stuff like that. Some of them make shit tons of money, and I would not have their life, right? I'd fucking rather live on the street than live their life because they're just miserable. Alcoholic, drinking all the time, using drugs to like feel good about life, then marriage is falling apart. I don't know. Is money worth that? I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. I'm going off on tangents already. But I think success is just for me. Now I'm like, I turned 42 in a couple of weeks, and I think I've learned a lot on this journey, especially working in coaching now for 21 years. I don't know. I think just money is an exchange of value. Money amplifies everything. So if you're not living your own value, you don't understand what you're trying to achieve, and you don't have clarity. Clarity creates standards. So if you don't have clarity, you don't have standards, and so standards drop really, really quickly. Throw money on top of that, it amplifies everything. So you've got a lost person who's unclear, who doesn't know what they want to do, who's probably lacking confidence, who feels like shit on the inside, stress, frustrated, angry, all of these emotions are coming up. Throw a ton of cash on top of that.
Opportunities, choices, drugs, alcohol, cocaine, strippers.
Things only get worse. Like I people come to me all the time. They're like, oh man, if I just had more money, I'd be free. Like I'd have financial freedom. I'm like, I've never met a person who's successful. I claim as successful. Because success is whatever it means to the individual. But I've never met a high-performing individual who's living a great life, who, first of all, is off track, and second of all, I just actually lost my train of thought because I had about 5 different tangents that I was going on there. But I don't know anyone who achieves anything fulfilling in life or worthwhile who makes a shitload of money and is unclear.
Yeah.
That's the tangent that I was going on, was that you can't have high standards without having clarity.
Yeah.
And so most people want clarity, but they don't put the time and effort into getting clear, first of all. Second thing is that the moment that you have clarity, you will grow. And then when you grow, there's new opportunities and new things that come your way. How you deal with that will define your life. I've just gone off on a massive fucking tangent that probably doesn't make sense.
No, it makes
But
total sense. I've got something to speak into here. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there's there's like a million different things going on in my head at the moment, and I probably should have had like 3 coffees before I came down here. But
if I can speak into this,
Yeah.
like clarity is the name of the game, and we get lost on what we think clarity means. So clarity for most men, tradies, successful guys, you mentioned prior to recording, you're going to list the company on the ASX in the next 5 years. That's a goal. That's pretty clear. But what is clarity to most men? Make heaps of money so that I can enjoy life, right? So we sacrifice our health, our happiness, our freedom, our family in the pursuit of that thing, which we're clear that we want, the house, the car, the toy. And then we get the fucking thing and we're like, what now? And we don't enjoy any of the journey. So how can we possibly have success if we don't have clarity on what we actually want? How do you help high-performing men, business owners, people create clarity? Because it sounds simple, right? What do you want? Most people have no fucking idea. How do you create clarity?
all humans are clear, right? Like if you study work from Sigmund Freud, he talks about, and I think Freud has some of the best psychology work that you'll come across. Just most people don't study it, or they go in there with their own delusions or interpretations as to what stuff means. Like, you know, I can say the most simple shit and people even online misinterpret. So what you're saying is that, and you go, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, well, you fucking, it's because like we interpret the world based on our past experiences and based on our beliefs and our values and our ideals and shit. So it's really easy to misinterpret people. But if you sit back and you look at Freud's work, he talks about the ego. And the ego, and I mean, people talk about ego all the time, right? Like I hear coaches talk about it. The definition of ego is the true self, right? It's simple. You can Google it and it's the first thing that comes up, the true self, I. What people talk about is the over-exaggerated self, which Freud called the super ego, and that's the correct terminology. What he said is that the super ego is implanted values, and when we have implanted values, they're there to deal with the impulses and fears that we have as children. And so a parent comes along, because if a parent wasn't there, you go, shit, there's chocolate, I'm going to eat as much as I can. A parent comes along and says, don't eat the chocolate. So we need external influences to keep us regulated, because we can't regulate ourselves as a child. We don't have the brain capacity to do it yet. Now, as we grow up as adults, we go, you know what, I really want to pursue a career in the thing that I would love to do. But then I'm going to upset mum. But then dad's going to be unhappy. But what about my place in the world? But if I don't make money, then my friends are going to think that I'm a worthless piece of shit. And then so now all of a sudden we're confused and unclear. It's not that we're not clear. Our true self is there. We know who we are. We know what we're here to do. If I look back at my life, it's so fucking obvious because I've always observed people. And that's probably from my childhood, not fitting in. I'm actually going across to the US to go to the Amen clinics to have my brain scanned and stuff like that with Dr. Amen. And I want to do that because I reckon I have undiagnosed ADHD, which I'm 100% certain of. But I'm not sure if there's probably if I'm partially on the spectrum or whatever, but I'm just keen to get the brain scans and check it out. But when I look back, it all makes sense because I was a kid who didn't fit into school. I'd challenge everything. I'd challenge the teachers. I'd get kicked out of school or kicked out of class all the time. When I look at my path, it was always in front of me. I didn't fit into the schooling system. I challenge things. I challenge perspectives. I challenge ideas. I challenge views. If shit didn't make sense, I would raise it immediately. That always got me in trouble, but that was my path. That's what makes me who I am today. Because I deal with people all the time who say, this is the way things are. And I go, that doesn't make any sense. Explain it. And I'm open-minded enough to be challenged, but at the same time, like point out inaccuracies or inefficiencies or shit that doesn't make sense. And that's led me to where I am. But I think most people in life, as they start to get clear, they can look back at life and go, shit, the path was always in front of me. I just got confused and lost. So I would say there's not many people that I've ever come across who are as good at values testing as what I am. And I can normally do it in like a minute or two. Just
Can we do it right now? How do we do
100%.
that? Yeah.
Well, I already know some of your values. I already probably know your top 3.
Okay, cool.
So intimate relationship or family, health and fitness, and then probably like some sort of coaching or learning.
Growth.
Okay, there you go.
Growth's my highest value. I believe it's my highest value. If I'm not growing, I'm dying, which can be a double-edged sword, right? Because as a successful man, if you're just still and have peace, you can also feel very uncomfortable. How did you deduce that? How do you find out what someone's values are? How do we find out what our own values are?
Here's the truth that no one wants to hear. You live them already. No one lives outside of their values. Your life demonstrates it. What happens though is that people are confused because of the implanted values of others. And Freud talks about this a lot. So does Demartini, and John's a good friend of mine, so we talk about this, quite a bit over the years. But essentially, you live your values. So when I do values testing of people, most of the time, like if I get asked to go into a business and I'm working with like a board of directors or whatever, and they want me to values test them so they understand each other, I'll just ask them, how's your weekend? Do you do that often? Like, what'd you get up to on the weekend? I hung out with friends. Oh, you hang out with friends often? Yeah, all the time. Bingo. Right? What else do you do? Oh, we sort of went out, had some experiences, dinner with a wife. Cool. Relationships important? Yeah. Do you hang out with your wife a lot or family? Yeah, I do. Okay, so family's probably a high value. You can pick it up pretty quick. So what I normally do is when I values test people, just for shits and giggles, because I can understand it clearly and it's obvious to them, but I'll get them to write down what an average week looks like. There's your values.
And how does that help us have a more successful or abundant business or life? How does knowing what our values support?
Because most people lie to themselves. I meet people all the time. They go, I only work because I have to make money in order to support my family. Bullshit. You work because you enjoy working and you enjoy supporting your family, and those two things are valued to you. Yeah, but I have to. No, you don't. There's a motherfucker today who woke up. His name's probably Davo. Davo woke up. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. Davo will wake up, walk to the fridge at 2 p.m., eat last night's pizza, go sit on the couch, smoke a bong, and he has no care factor in the world, doesn't give a fuck about working. So we don't have to work. We choose to work. And we choose to work because it's important to us. But what happens is these implanted values and these delusions and fantasies that people have cause confusion. So people go, I only work because I have to work. Well, why do you have to work? Because I have to make money. But why do you have to make money? Because I got to support the family. They're two values that are really important to you. You don't have to make money to support the family. There are plenty of families who don't make a lot of money and the families are still fine. It's just you choose to. They'll justify it because to them they think that it's normal. But I think that it's normal to go to the gym, and I think that it's fucking crazy not to go to the gym. But that's in your my values, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And so I talk about this a lot at my events because people argue with me and debate with me on this. You're walking through the shopping center with your family, right? And you're a fit dude, so I'm assuming that your family's like health is important, and you probably go for walks and stuff like that together. And I don't know, I assume you exercise and whatever. Yeah. But if you walk past, let's say you don't understand values, and you walk past and you see an obese mother, and she's got two obese kids sitting in the shopping trolley, and they're at Macca's getting,
that makes me feel sick. That makes me feel disgusted. Yeah.
You would look at that. Depending on how mentally and emotionally balanced you are and how much you understand values, you look at that parent and you go, how could they do that to their kids? Right? Because you perceive that being a good parent is looking after your own health.
Yes.
And you're looking after your kids by looking after their health. So being a good parent means health. To that parent, being a good parent means making sure that the kids can have what makes them happy. And so this mother's feeding her kids McDonald's because she thinks I'm being a good mother by giving my kids something that makes them happy.
Interesting perspective.
So you've got two different people who both want their kids to be happy, but due to their value system, they do it in different ways. And both of them will judge it because they'll see you with your kids walking along, the Esplanade or whatever, or along the beach. And they go, why would you make your little kid ride a push bike and shit like that? Like it's fucking hot. That's shitty parenting. And then you look at them, you're like, how could you do that with your kids and feed them fucking Maccas when they're already overweight? So our judgments and our biases are created by our value structures, but our values are what our life demonstrates.
If you're getting value from this podcast episode, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. It allows us to reach more men, to keep more families together, and to give you more value with the guests that we get on board. So please do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon so we can give you even more value. So how do you change that? Let's say your values aren't supporting you. You're the mother.
I love this question.
Let's say you want to be, so everyone wants success to some degree, right? Want to be healthy, happy, etc. I'm assuming, maybe I'm wrong. How do you use this to your advantage?
Well, there's two questions there, right? So the first question you asked was, how do you change it? And my question is, why would you want to?
So I'm thinking about the listener right now who knows there's something off. Maybe you've got a business, some of our clients, $100 million business, but they're fucking miserable.
Yep.
There's clearly something going on there with their values. They say their value is family, but they never see them. You have the guy who...
Their value's not family then.
So how do you shift that? Like, I'll use myself as an example. We scaled to a team of 36 million, I think, a year, and I was miserable. My value was family, and I wanted to be with my family, but I was sacrificing everything for them. Profit went completely down, constantly stressed, drinking every day to deal with it. And I coach men on how to be healthy and have balance.
Yep.
That went on for like a year and a half. So there's a values misalignment. And why would I want to change it? Because it was fucking killing me, right? So that's why I say, how do you change it to your response? Why would you want to?
It's a great question. And, I think you've got great self-awareness, because most of the people who are, like most of the podcasts that I go to, most of the podcasters will ask me these types of questions, but won't share their vulnerability. So it shows a lot of strength and a lot of self-awareness. First of all, I assume what happened was you have a higher value of family over money. So money's important, but it's a lower value. Now, what happened was, because of your implanted values, you thought success was money, and so you put money over the top of family, but it created the misery. The truth is, you can actually make more money by looking after your family.
Yep.
Right? You just had it in the wrong order because of the implanted values. So, I mean, I work with people who have families and they're worth $500 million, and they will still take off. There's a property developer that I've worked with. I started working with him. He was 32. He had about $72 million in developments, and now he's probably got $500 million, but at one point he was probably about 900 million. So pretty successful developer, right? When I started working with him, we realized family was his highest value, family over money. Now, he would work 7 days a week flat out, but he was always burning out. Then he'd feel guilty. Then when he'd feel guilty, he'd drink, because guilt is a byproduct of unfair value exchange or implanted values. He was getting signs and symptoms, but he just ignored the signs and symptoms and pushed through because that's what he thought he had to do for success. But that wasn't his success. It was someone else's success. This is the problem when people talk about success. They're talking about somebody else's success, not their own. I'm way more successful than most of the clients that I work with who make shit tons more money than me. And that's because I fucking love life. I do what I want. I wake up when I want to wake up. I go to bed when I want to go to bed. I train when I want to train. I eat what I want to eat. I just enjoy life. I enjoy the process of doing this shit. That doesn't mean I get it right all the time, right? And no one does. And I definitely make a shit ton of mistakes. In fact, I just wake up, make a bunch of mistakes, deal with fucking problems, and then I go to bed and wake up tomorrow and do the same thing again, right? It's what I enjoy. But I'm more successful than them because I've figured out life. And the truth is that our life is determined by the way we feel about life. It's that simple.
It's perspective, right?
Yeah. So if you're stressed every day, life is stressful. If you're angry every day, life is angry. If you're afraid, life is fearful. So your life doesn't matter whether it's money or whatever. Everything external is just an amplifier of what happens internally. And they're our triggers for the shit that we haven't dealt with or stuff that we need to learn from.
Agreed.
So if you can use those external factors and external triggers to become more self-aware and do your own internal work, then over time, life just gets better and better and better.
Yes.
And so there are these great people who come to me who are extremely successful financially, but completely unsuccessful in life.
Yep. So can I ask, you mentioned clarity earlier.
Yep.
It sounds like clarity for a lot of people is not necessarily wrong, but not giving them what they want because it's implanted, right? How much of a percentage do you think this internal work and this awareness and this clarity play to business success and life success as opposed to tactics like marketing, sales, team?
Everything.
I
have this conversation. My whole team are just doing a rebrand at the moment, and we're just sort of changing the way. Michael Mojo and the Mojo Human Performance Institute still the brand. But when I started doing a lot of the business coaching and masterminds and stuff like that, we would go down the path of tactics and, strategy and things like that. But the thing is that everyone sells that. And I say this every day to business owners, right? You have the best strategy and put it in the hand of fuckwits, and they're going to fuck it up. So there's only two ways to scale and grow a business: people and technology. And then what happens, like, especially smaller business owners, they go to all these business events and workshops and shit, and someone says, here's a strategy and here's like the 5 steps that you need to do. And great. The question is, can you execute those 5 steps? Because I'm great at human behavior. I'm shit with structure. I fucking hate operations. The company needs them, but the question is, why do I need to do them? And I don't, because I'm not good at them. So you take, let's say, a tradie, and a tradie's great at plumbing, and they're a great plumber. They go to build a business, and maybe they're great at sales and great at building a team. All of a sudden, they start sitting behind a computer. They're more frustrated. They're more angry. They get pissed off. They get distracted all the time. And instead of it taking 3 hours to build a process, it takes them 3 weeks to build a process because they keep putting it off and they're frustrated. What's the quality of that system?
Terrible.
It's fucking hopeless, right?
Yeah.
Then they wonder why they can't scale a business. They're frustrated. They're angry. They think they should be doing things. I don't do that. I just hire the right people.
So
you were talking about Tiff before.
Yeah.
Tiff, I hired her as my EA 6 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago now. Oh, maybe it's 9. Anyway, I hired her just about 2 months ago. Tiff came on as my EA. Within the first week, she's like, right, I need to build all these systems and processes around you. I was like, done. So she starts structuring everything, building stuff out. Hey, do you mind if we use Notion to start structuring frameworks for the team? Done. Hey, can we change the communication system from Team Connect or whatever it's called to Slack? Yep, go ahead. She's pretty much structured our whole company like in a short period of time. And about 4 weeks ago, I sat her down, I took her out for lunch and I said, look, you were hired as my EA. You're not my EA. What do you want your role to be? You just pick a name and a title and it's yours. And you write your own job description. So she came back to me and she goes, I just want to be head of people. Like I'm head of people, which means my job is to make sure that the team perform properly. Everyone in the team will report to me. And essentially she's become our head of operations.
Amazing. And just for anyone who doesn't understand where we got that from, when I first met you outside the podcast studio, you were talking to Tiff on the phone and I heard the end of the conversation. And for anyone at home, he basically said, you're amazing, keep doing a great job, really proud of you, or something along those lines. And it was just such a unique way of operating between a quote unquote boss and a team member.
Yep.
And something I hear from my clients all the time is I can't find good staff, can't trust anyone, can't surrender, can't lose control. How do you build people? Because you seem like you just hired someone and it worked amazingly. Most business owners don't have that experience. Where do you even begin?
Great question. Okay. There's 2 paths I'm going to go down here. So the first thing is that shit staff only work for shit bosses. That simple. Great staff work for great bosses. They need a great leader and a great communicator. And you will not, because I mean, we deal with a lot of trade-based businesses and a lot of, businesses in NDIS and stuff like that. They'll say the same thing, can't hire good staff. I don't go and find staff. I attract staff. And you attract staff because not only do you attract the right people, you repulse the wrong people. So the interesting thing is when you start to understand laws of human behavior, you realize that most people fuck this shit up because they just don't understand common laws of physics or human behavior. So you can't have a law of attraction without repulsion, first of all. So if you want to attract the right people, you got to repulse the wrong ones. Why would an A-grade staff member who's a high performer, we're talking like the fucking Michael Jordan of whatever role, why are they going to go play on a team of like fucking morons that when you throw the ball to them, they throw it out of court? Don't you think they're going to get pissed off in the first 2 weeks and leave? So you have to create an environment for great people to thrive. My job now as a leader is to protect the environment for the team. So for Tiff and my wife Jess, who is essentially our head of marketing now, she's just moved into that role. I've just got a new sales guy who's our head of sales. My job is to protect them, and I protect them by making sure that they don't have shit people around them because shit people piss them off. A-grade players just want to win championships, right? They don't want to deal with bullshit. They don't want to micromanage people. They don't want that. Now, how do you attract those people? Well, I used to be one of those knuckleheads, right? I used to be shit. I used to get frustrated all the time at staff. I used to get angry. I'd lose my shit. I'd put up with crap performance and I'd let it build up and I'd over support the team. And then all of a sudden I'm getting angry and frustrated because I'm doing like 90% of their work. And then because I'm doing 90% of their work and I'm paying them well, I'm getting more and more frustrated. And then eventually one meeting, they're so far behind on delivery, I like fucking flip out and lose my shit. Then they quit and resign and call me a fucking asshole. And I was shit, right? I think you've got to be crap at something before you get really, really good at something. I was a shit leader, which is why I'm a good leader now.
And acknowledging that, right? Yeah. I remember a few years ago, I was so angry at my general manager. He's been with me for 8 years. And I was getting ready for the meeting and I was going to rip into him like, you blew up. And I sat there for an hour and I'm like, okay, he fucked up. but I've allowed him to fuck up. Like as a leader, his team should be performing. He did not lead them well. Well, by definition, that's a mirror for me not leading well. And I got on that meeting and I said, brother, look at this thing that's been done. Has it been done well? No. Why do you think that is? He tells me. I say, cool. You clearly haven't led that team, but you know what? I haven't led you. And I basically spent 30 minutes telling him all the shit I could have done better. He sends me a message about 2 hours later saying, thank you so much for how you showed up on that meeting. But I had 4 years of being that crap leader you just mentioned.
Yep.
And then I wondered why everyone was fucking terrible at their job.
Yeah.
So I think what you nailed is really, really important for anyone listening. You've got to be crap at something before you can be good or great at it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this right now and those narratives are in your head, you can't find good stuff, you can't build a great team, stop and look in the fucking mirror, right? How do you, as a listener right now, bring awareness to this and begin to shift it from crap to great? How do you begin that journey to build a fucking epic team and be a great leader?
That's an epic question. There's something in metaphysics, and I definitely know you would have heard about this, and I'm sure you would have spoken about it at some point, but it's the law of reflection, right? Or that life is a mirror. So if you're not sure who you are, have a look at your life. The hard part about that is that people don't like looking in the mirror, right? And I mean that's a metaphor for life, right? If your life is shit because you're shit. It's that simple.
It is that simple.
And people go, oh, fucking, well, don't. Like you live your life the way you want to live it. But my life used to be shit too, right? At 21, my best friend's 3-year-old niece. Oh, I'm talking out of the mic, but my best friend's 3-year-old niece was killed in a car accident. I was a diesel mechanic, apprentice diesel mechanic. I fucking hated going to work every day. On Friday arvos, I would drive to the bottle on the pub, get a 6-pack, get a bottle of bourbon, go to a mate's house and just blast myself all weekend. Every week I'd live week to week. You know, I'm struggling to pay bills. Like that's how my life started. There's no magic secret or special sauce, right? The sauce is in the fucking work, and most people just don't want to work. And it takes a long time. Like I remember in my 20s, in fact, one of my best mates that I actually met at a Tony Robbins event, I walked outside and there's this young dude with a backwards cap and shit. And we started talking, and then we'd exchange numbers, and then I saw him get up on the Tony Robbins stage and he's talking in front of everyone about his business ventures. And I was like, fuck. Anyway, I turned 30. One of my best mates is like 26, multi-millionaire. He's got 6 multi-million-dollar companies. You know, he's a board member on the Reserve Bank of Australia, travels around the country speaking about business. And I turned 30 and our business was still struggling. And I was like, man, I'm a piece of shit. Like I haven't got anywhere. And I'm questioning, like, I've done all this personal development and I've done, you know, I've done so much personal development and I still hadn't got to where I wanted to get to. Then within 12 months, I've already got my first supercar after that. And then, you know, I'm living in this nice house and life completely shifted within 12 months. But it didn't shift within 12 months. It shifted because of all the work that I'd put in from 21 to 30 or 21 to 31, because 21 was when I bought my first personal development program. It was 10 years of work that made it look like everything shifted overnight. And the truth is it didn't.
Yeah.
It took 10 years of going through all the shit consistently. Like I journal all the time. I'm going to like meditation workshops. I'm doing spirituality shit. I'm trying to figure out like what's working for me, what's not working. And yeah, I don't know. Life is fucking fascinating. I know I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but for anyone who's listening to this, who's sort of struggling and you're off track, I think about Hollywood, right? You're an actor and you start off, you might be really good at acting and you've put in like years and years of going to acting school, or you might be a musician, you might be really good at playing the guitar. So you decide to move to the US or whatever, and you're in Hollywood and you're going to all of these, acting classes, and you're hanging around, you're trying to find the right people, and there's all these jobs coming up for actors, and you go there and, you know, you read your script and everything like that, and nothing's working. You're fucking living on a mate's couch, and life's just, it's a struggle, and you're working like 100 times harder than what you need to, and you're still not getting anywhere. Now, eventually when you make it, it'll come to a point where you rock up on the red carpet. And when you're on the red carpet, you rock up there and you make $30 to $40 million a year, and everyone gives you free shit. So you rock up there, you get a free car, because someone wants you to travel around and drive around in it. You get free watches, you get free clothes, you get free fucking everything. At the top, everything is so much easier. I mean, yes, you get massive challenges, but everything's so much easier that the bottom sucks because it's like you're just drowning and you're drowning and you're drowning. And no matter how hard you fucking swim, you can't get out of drowning. But eventually, you just realize that if you just stand up, the water's not that deep. But it takes a long, long time to learn how to swim and then how to stand up.
Absolutely.
So it's an analogy that I use for life because I have so many young people who come to me and they're like, man, I just want to be successful. And like, how did you get successful? I don't even know what success is. Like I am successful because I enjoy life, but I still get my ass kicked like weekly. I'm pushing hard in business. I'm pushing hard in life. I fuck up all the time. Like I make mistakes. I do stupid shit. Right.
But your perspective is very different, man. Like, I think this all comes back to this idea of mindset because there's a lot of men right now, like that meme of the guy digging for gold.
Yep.
And he's about to hit it. He's about to get on that red carpet in his business, his career, whatever it might be. And he turns the fuck around because he's like, it's taking too long. It takes as long as it needs to. And it begins with your mindset, like your perspective. Is it taking too long or is it building you up to have the life you want? And it might take 10 fucking years. Now you can't accelerate it like you did in that 12 months. Your mindset is very, very clearly one of possibility. I fuck up, I make mistakes, I deal with stress, I eat shit every day. You're just so chill about it. What other mindset shifts or ways of being or perspective that you see in high performers who are truly successful? Not the guys who have the $500 million business who hate their life. What's the mindset of a winner that you see?
Well, I think it's the clarity part, right? But in order to get clarity, you got to have some form of self-awareness. There's a lot of people out there who hide from the self-awareness, like they know, but they internalize it. You know, it's hard to say because like, it's hard to say because it's not one factor. There's a whole bunch of different factors, right? Like you've got self-awareness, you've got the ability to keep taking punches. There's something that if you study work from the philosopher Vanaski, he talks about this idea of noospheres, which is the spheres of intelligence or the sphere of mind. And what he said is that we go through these lessons and challenges in life. And as we learn these lessons, eventually we realize that we can master them all at a level, but then we shift to the next noosphere or the next level. And that gave me a lot of clarity about life. And this is some of the stuff that I teach. And it's also the stuff that I think makes people successful. You have to enjoy the process of being challenged in life. As you know, you go to the gym and there's nothing worse than walking into a gym looking at the weights and you go, oh, I'll just pick up the light ones, and you fuck around a little bit and then you walk on the treadmill and then you get on your phone and then an hour's gone, you walk out of there, you're like, man, I'm a piece of shit. I just wasted an hour. Right? It's horrible. That's how most people live life. When you walk in there and you go, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to push hard today. Yeah, I don't feel like it. I'm still going to lift heavy anyway. And you push yourself, or if it's pushing yourself with a run, it's the days when you can't be bothered, or it's almost that point where you hit your max and you push past it a little bit. That's where your self-worth and your self-love and your self-confidence and all of those things really come into play. And I really think that if you can keep pushing yourself hard in life, life actually is really fun. It's when you sit there and you're like, oh, I don't know what I should do, but what if I fail? That's when life is shit. It's just shit.
Yeah.
I think most people are so afraid because of the implanted values of others, and their self-worth comes from everybody else, and they worry about everybody else's opinions and perspectives and shit like that. And so they're afraid to fuck up and make mistakes because all of their friends as well who are afraid to fuck up and don't make mistakes judge everybody else. I mean, yeah, my friends used to be like that. They used to judge and criticize me. My best friend ended up going to jail for major drug importation. And years later, I caught up with him and I went and picked him up in my McLaren. And we're sitting in there and we're driving around and that. And I said, you know, it's good to have you out, brother. And it's good, you know, that you clean yourself up and all that shit. And he goes, man, I always knew you'd be successful. And I thought, you didn't fucking think that when I started doing personal development. You told me it was all a scam and these pricks were ripping me off. And you didn't think that then. Everyone criticized me and judged me. But the types of people you hang out with really define who you are. When you're hanging out with high performers, one of my best mates went bankrupt about 1.5 years ago. And I only found out, I just finished an event. Myself and my wife, we'd gone back to our room. We're just eating some food on the bed. And I get this phone call from him. And I said, how's everything going? He's like, oh, yeah, you know, things haven't been the best. I said, why is that? And he goes, I went bankrupt. Now, he's had that business for like 21 years or something. and it was an investor pulled the pin on money and it just sunk the whole company. They had to put into liquidation. Not really any fault of his own. It was just, I mean, it was, but it wasn't really. You know, these things happen in business. My first thought was like, how can I help? How do you get back on track? And now he's already built multiple multi-million-dollar companies again, because that's who he is. When I found out that he had to go into liquidation, my first thing was like, if you need anything, let me know. That's how high performers roll. Low performers don't think like that. They think, well, you failed, therefore you're dumb and you're stupid. But you're only as shit as the people that you hang around, I think. Because like if you look at sport, how many times does someone make a shit shot? That doesn't mean that they're crap. It just means that they made a shit shot. I see this all the time online, right? With someone will drive and then crash their car, and then some dickhead gets on there and they're like, "Oh, they're fucking, you know, their skill is like whatever shit or whatever." But have a look at race car drivers; they crash more than anyone else.
If you want to actually take this framework that I shared and apply it to your life, it's part of our Empowered Man Armory and our app that we've spent almost 250 grand on. If you want access to a powerful system where you can use this reframe system I just shared with you every single day, then find me on Instagram at Tony Empowered Man. TonyEmpowedMan. I'll put the link down below as well. Send me a DM saying reframe, and I'll give you this exact framework as well as early access to the Empowered Man app when it launches. It's a great way to look at life, because you said something earlier like fall in love or embrace the challenges, enjoy the challenges.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, success is defined by many different metrics, but one of the metrics is there's weight on the bar. And at each new level, there's a new devil, right? And you put more and more weight on the bar. But if you can look at that weight as not it's getting heavier, but I'm getting stronger.
Yeah.
And you look at that challenge in your business, you look at that challenge in your marriage, you look at that challenge with the stress of taxes or whatever it might be from the frame of, well, this is here to help me learn and grow. Let's fucking go, which is a choice, by the way.
Yep.
No one makes that choice for you. Then life does become fun. And I speak from experience here. Like I know what it's like to be stressed out and fucking depressed, and everyone thinks you're successful. What's the point of any of this shit?
I
right?
agree.
So it's such a powerful mindset. How do you create it? Like, how do you create this mindset of, I love challenges, let's fucking go. I love life, let's fucking go. How do you build that?
Got to lift the weight, right? You got to go through the challenges. You got to go through the adversities. I'm not where I am because there was some easy path.
Yeah.
I just refuse to give up, right? Maybe it's because I'm stupid. Maybe it's because I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know. All I know is that I just don't give up. There are people who are smarter than me who I'm doing better than in both life and financially. I went to school with a whole bunch of kids who were super intelligent, did well, went to uni. I thought they had it all together. And then, you know, I look 20 years later and I go, fuck, what happened?
You just kept going.
Yeah. There's just so many great quotes. Like I love reading quotes. I love reading philosophy. I love just exploring perspectives. I love watching shit even that challenges the fuck out of me, because I'm like, is this person an idiot, or where's the truth in the stupidity of the shit that they're saying, right? And you see that things counterbalance each other. Like I think one of the greatest philosophies I've ever come across is yin and yang. Like everything in the universe balances itself back out. And I've met people before and they go, oh, that's like woo-woo shit. If you just go to Google and type in net charge of the universe, it's zero, which means that every positive charge balances itself out with a negative charge. That's not woo-woo, right? That's physics. And if you have a look at chemistry and you study chemistry, everything's trying to move to its most balanced form or its most stable form. So I believe that everything in the universe is trying to stabilize itself in some way, shape, or form. It's just that it's moving towards its most stable form. But the truth is that there is a lot of instabilities. But those instabilities are counterbalanced somewhere else, which is a weird perspective.
So that perspective makes total sense to me. Let's say you're somebody who that goes over your head right now, and your frame is a bit simpler. You're listening to this and you feel like you should be further ahead.
Yep.
You're under constant pressure and stress, and you know there's some light at the end of the tunnel if you don't quit, but you're drowning. You don't realize that it's shallow in there. What can you say to that person to shift their perspective? Especially that I should be further ahead, I should be more successful, I shouldn't be working so much, the fucking shitting all over ourselves.
So shoulds are implanted values. Okay. The truth is, it is what it is. So if you just clear out all the fucking bullshit, right, of like, I should be doing this, I should be further along, this is just how it is. So someone can say, well, I shouldn't have financial problems. Yeah, but you fucking do. So get over it. Let's move. Right? It's that. I never
It's
used
so
to
simple,
think,
right?
I never used to think like that, right?
Yeah.
But this is what happens day to day, and dealing with business owners every week, right? Like I love doing sales and I love talking to business owners. So I'll have someone who they're on the phone and they're going, my staff shouldn't be like this, and I'm like, yeah, but they are. So now what are we going to do? Because you got to make a decision. The word decide means to cut off from everything else, right? And most people live in choices, which is why they're confused. When you go to a restaurant, you look at the choices on the menu. Now, the chef doesn't start cooking until you decide and you say, I'm cutting away from all the other bullshit, right? So we've got to make decisions. And if you want to be successful, you've got to learn how to make decisions. But in order to make good decisions, you've got to make a lot of shit ones in order to realize what a good decision is. So the faster you learn how to make good decisions, which is by making shit decisions first, the more successful you're going to be, number one. Then from there, if you then start to look at life for what it is, you can make better decisions. Because I could say, you know what, my staff should just do everything without me. Yeah, but they don't. So now what are we going to do? We're here now. How do we deal with it? So we've got to look at things objectively, not subjectively, and put our biases on them. It just is what it is. Now, that makes it so much easier to deal with, right? I don't have the money. I don't have the money. Well, let's look at that in a couple of different perspectives. First of all, if you don't have the money that you want, the question is, why do you want the money? Second of all, why do you deserve the money? Something that I came up with years ago, and this is, I got to be cautious doing this because it's my technique and I've never seen anyone else do it. And I know that there are people out there who have copied it, but if you just get people to write a whole list of their beliefs around money, which is money is, right? So you go, money is. Get them to write the list first. Don't tell them what you're doing. What you'll do, after you see the negative ones or the disempowering ones, cross out the word money and write value.
Powerful.
Yep.
Yep.
Because money is an exchange of value. People who don't have money normally don't have value.
I've got a few clients right now who constantly go, I should be further ahead, everyone's further ahead. And I want them to rewind that because it takes a lot of ownership to actually say that out loud.
Yeah.
I don't add value.
That's
I don't deserve more money. I shouldn't have more money. I have the exact amount of money in my bank account that I've earned through my value that I give to the world.
And life doesn't change when you make more money. It just amplifies. So I remember, I don't want to go off on too many tangents, but if you just write down the way you think about money, find your negative beliefs or disempowering beliefs or whatever you want to call them, circle them, and then exchange the word money for value, it will tell you exactly where you're stuck. So if someone says, I don't have enough money, the truth is I don't have enough value.
So powerful.
Right?
Yeah.
Once you do that, you go, shit, how do I add more value? And the truth is the more I add value to others, the more money I make. But then the question is, when I get money, what happens? Because what most people do is they live in fear anyway. And the reason why they don't have money is because they live in fear. So I meet people all the time who come to me. I've had clients like this. They'll have millions in the bank and they stress about money all the time. And I go, why are you stressed? Well, and they think that money, which is external, is going to change the way that they feel internal, which is worry.
Yep.
The truth is that they love to worry. And they think that money is going to take that away, and it doesn't.
It doesn't. I remember the day after I got this, I've shared it so many times, I cried because I'm like, I thought I was going to be happy. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is nice. I'm fucking not that happy because I thought the money or the success would make me happy. No, it doesn't. It just amplifies.
Totally.
Right? It just amplifies. So
there's just on that, if I can quickly say, what I've found, and this has been my experience, I haven't come across this idea before, but what I've found is when I work with business owners and when I work with extremely driven people, there's ways of thinking. Normally, most people start at needs. They go, I need to make more money. Right? I need to buy something, right? I need those shoes. I need to get a new car. So they start at needs. Then what happens if you do well, you eventually move to the next level, which is wants. And you go, you know what? I just want a new car. You know what? I want new clothes. And so you go from needs to wants. Needs is a very primitive survival-based sort of thinking. Wants is sort of like, yeah, I want it, but it's a bit lofty. Eventually, if you move to the next level, you move to standards. And this is what most people don't understand, right? Like I get this criticism online a lot. Like people go, you just bought a supercar because it's so you can like impress others. I don't give a fuck because I drive around and I get called a dickhead, a rich wanker, just there are people out. I go to car shows all the time and stuff like that. And I let little kids sit in the car, but dudes will walk up who are insecure and they look and they go, I wouldn't put those wheels on it. bro, you couldn't afford those wheels. Shut
Fucking
the fuck up. Like, it's your
Australians,
car.
man. Tall poppy, eh?
It's not Australians. It's just people. When you're insecure, you point out the flaws in everybody else because you can't see the, I don't know, the hard work or the effort or the things that people go through.
The pain.
And, yeah, when I rock up at those car shows, like I have a lot of younger guys come up, or even just people in general, and I'm always talking to people and shit like that. I'm a car guy. You know, my dad builds custom cars for a hobby, and these young guys will come up and they go, oh, you know, I love your car and stuff. And I go, what do you drive? And they tell me, and I go, oh yeah, they're cool. And they go, yeah, but it's not as good as yours. And I have to have this conversation all the time. I'm like, cars are art. If you're a car person, cars are art. You can't define art. Like there's art that I like and art that I don't like. And there's art that other people like that is different than the art that I like. So it's just art.
Yeah.
I think the expression of someone's car is more important than the car itself. It's the expression of how they think. To me, I've got two different supercars now. One of them's an old V8 Audi R8. And that one there is like, it's part of me. It's grunty, it's gritty, it's fucking angry. And that's me. But then there's the other one, which is a McLaren, and that's like fast moving fighter jet, like highly tuned. That's also me. Both of them are a representation of me, who I am. I didn't buy them to impress others. I couldn't give a fuck what people think. I bought them because it's what I like. But I've got other friends of mine and clients of mine who are boat people. They'd never buy a supercar, but they'd go sink $3 to $5 million on a boat. I'd never have a boat because I'm not a boat guy. I don't mind going out with them, but I couldn't think of anything worse than owning a fucking boat. One of my other clients, he flies around helicopters everywhere. He loves helicopters. He's just turned 62 and he bought his first supercar. And he's been rich most of his life financially.
Yep.
So I think, you know, everything in life, just coming back to like summarizing everything, because I know I've gone off track. Everything in life really is a direct reflection of who we are. And nothing external to us will change the way we feel about ourselves internally. But the way we feel about ourselves internally will change everything externally. If you're always chasing external shit to validate yourself, it's because you're insecure. Nothing externally will ever take away that insecurity. And the truth is we're all insecure because insecurity creates motivation. There's part of me that goes, you know what? I want to make more money. That's because I'm insecure around money. It's not a bad thing, but I got to control that insecurity. We go to the gym, right? Because there's part of us that's insecure. If I sat around and didn't go to the gym for 2 weeks, I'd feel like a fat, lazy piece of shit.
Yep.
That forces me to go to the gym. But what I know is if I'm consistent with that, I don't have that insecurity. So DeMartini said, our values are created from our voids. Our voids are our insecurities. So whatever you value is also your insecurity. Most people don't know that. The insecurity creates a motivation and drive to go out and fulfill those values.
And there's nothing wrong with that if it's done from a frame of abundance versus scarcity. It's funny how this all ties together because you spoke about embedded values and beliefs.
Yep.
So for you to talk about supercars right now, there are going to be some people who listen and go, you know what they're going to say? Dickhead.
Yeah.
And there are going to be other people.
But
But that's the thing. That's because that's their embedded belief from somebody else.
Yeah.
He has X car. That means B, he's dickhead. That's not your belief. Like if you really strip who you are at your true self, why does it matter what car somebody else drives? So this all ties back to this idea of values and what's embedded versus what's within you. You seem to have a level of success that makes you love life, not a level of success where you feel like you need everything.
I live in standards.
You live in standards.
I live in standards.
Yeah.
I just live in standards. I stay at nice hotels when I travel, not because of wants, not because of needs. It's just a standard.
So just to break this down for a listener, like a standard is I'm healthy. A standard is I have a great relationship. A standard is I stay in nice places. A standard is I have this much money in my bank account. It's not a need. It's a desire to some degree, but it's not like this stressful amorphous thing. It's like, this is just my life. And if you can live life that way, life becomes really fucking fun, right?
Yeah.
It becomes abundance.
Yeah.
We're building an app here at Empowered Man and we're launching today. And we have a reframe in there around money mindsets. And I have 3 money mindsets that were embedded in me from childhood. One was my father, drugs, alcohol, strippers, excuses, wasted every
Sounds
dollar.
like a fun dude.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. I'm still working through that. But he would spend it all, so waste it. Then I have my grandparents, they would give it. Just give to everyone else, always share. Then I have my mother, single mother. My parents separated when I was 4, and she would work her ass off, constantly fucking stressed. So I could see within myself the last 8 years of running this business, there's the part of me that just gives, give. There's the part of me that just waste. And the most deeply ingrained part was I need to be stressed to make money.
Yeah,
And I can
okay.
see now after listening to you, all of that was embedded.
Mm.
Like all of that was from external fucking factors. It wasn't really who I am at my core. And I think for anyone listening right now, really identify like, what do you believe around money, staff, health, life? And how much of that is your own belief? And how much of that is society, social media, or some bullshit your parents told you?
Well, that's interesting because if you look at emotional charges in order to find that path, I think if you imagine that our drivers are, it's a pendulum, right? And so you've got pleasure and pain.
Mm.
A lot of the time, pain is what motivates people at first. But then what happens is when you have pain, and again, this is where Freud's work talks about this because he said that every time you have a fear, it creates an impulse. So most people try to deal with their impulses, and even most people in the field of psychology don't know this. All impulses are created from fears. So instead of
What do you mean
dealing
by
with
impulses? Sorry to cut you off. What do you mean by impulses?
impulses are something that you find hard to control, but it's something that you consistently move towards.
So in the context of a stressed out business owner, what are the impulses that come from the fear? What are some examples of that?
So when you have a stressed out business owner, if we look at the fear is I'm not good enough, I'm not successful enough yet.
Can't rely on anyone. Would that be one?
Yeah, that could definitely be them. People are going to judge me if I fail. Like, what if I fail? I'm letting down my family. So you've got all these fears. And then what will happen is because pain creates pleasure or the drive for pleasure, what will happen is that person then finishes Friday afternoon. They go get drunk. They might take some drugs on the weekend. They impulsively spend. They might overeat. So all the impulses are based on fears. Now, if you look at drug addiction, most of the time, when you go to rehab and things like that, they're dealing with the impulse. But I think that's why the failure rate in rehab clinics is so high.
Yeah, because they're not dealing with the root cause.
They're not dealing with the fear.
Yeah.
And the fear is I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not where I want to be, all of that type of shit. When you start to balance out the fears, you start to also balance out the impulses. So you still have, you can still be a little bit impulsive. Like I very rarely drink, but if I want to go out and have a drink, I'll have a fucking drink. Like I don't define myself by boxes. I think labels are there to understand. They're not there to define. So people ask me all the time, do you drink? Well, yeah, but not really. Like I'll drink if I want to drink. But like, do you eat cakes and shit? Not really, but if it's there and I feel like it, I'll eat it.
It's possible. You mentioned ADHD earlier. That's a very common label now. Oh, I've got ADHD. Therefore, this is the box my life is in, right?
Yeah.
So we get put into these boxes. We have these fears. We have these impulses. The first step is awareness. Okay,
Yep.
bring awareness to these things.
Yes.
When they've been going on for 10, 20, 30 years, what are the biggest shifts you see in your clients and with the people you work with that get them out of it fast? Or is that the wrong frame? Do we not get out of it fast?
I don't know that you get out of it fast, but what you were talking about before was when you started, you had a lot of pain around money and a lot of pain around like achievement and things like that.
Yep.
And so the fact that you felt unsuccessful, you felt like you didn't have money, that became a high motivator, right? Because the pain was intense. The fire's high, so the drive's high.
It was like 3 years of journaling. Like you said,
Yep.
every journal, I'm a failure, I'm a fuck up, can't break 50K a month, can't do this, can't do that.
Yep.
3 years. Yes, so much pain,
But
suffering.
then what happens normally is that also then creates the impulse. So you would have had a whole bunch of impulses with it, right? You mentioned before the drinking and
Drugs,
then
alcohol,
the watch and all that type of stuff.
everything.
So that's a counterbalancer, right?
Yep.
So then what happens is the pendulum swings from side to side, but after a while you start to realize that the pain and the pleasure are pretty much the same thing, right? Because every time, like when I drank alcohol, I used to drink a lot when I was younger. What I realized after a while was that the alcohol creates a fucking hangover. But when I was younger, it was like you go out and you drink and all you see is the pleasure. And then you wake up the next morning, you're like, fucking hell. And it's like, it's less than like 12 hours apart. But my brain still didn't comprehend that every time I drink, I end up with a hangover and I feel like shit. But then that night, my mates would call and I'm getting over my hangover and they're like, do you want to come out? And I'm like, yeah,
Impulse.
fuck it, I'll smash some KFC and I'm ready to go again. And you back out.
Impulse.
Now, every time I think about drinking, I'm like, oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and feel like shit. So the pleasure and the pain are together. So what you find is when you first start the journey of your own self-awareness, you'll see the pain, you see the struggle, you see all the shit that you're going through, and it seems like you're drowning in it. But then you also have these impulses, and you impulse, which they make you feel good in the moment, but then afterwards you feel guilty and beat yourself back up, which drives you back into pain. in psychology, they say that pleasure and pain are human motivators. I think they are, but they're shit motivators. Inspiration is a balance of pleasure and pain. When we go to the gym now, you get both pleasure and pain, right? Like I have a hard workout and I'm like, fuck, this sucks, but it's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's called inspiration. And also mystics call that love. So you've got kids?
Yeah, 2 kids, yeah.
2 kids. You love your kids, right?
Absolutely.
They're your dream and your nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, that's love.
Yeah.
Most people mistake passion for love, and they're not the same thing. The word passion means to suffer.
This is good shit, bro. Because this is speaking my language right now. Yeah. So let's say you're one of the guys listening to this right now and you have the pain or impulse, you yell at your kids or you're shitty towards your partner or you're in a bad mood, so you take it out on your team. Is that what you're talking about here when you mean like pain and pleasure?
Yeah.
And how do we turn these everyday things that all the business owners we work with, how do we turn those things into inspiration? Because that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, let's go. Love, baby.
Okay, so if I go back to Freud's work, right, you got the ego, which is a true self, and then you have the implanted values of others, which is other people's voices. And that's where this idea of like perfectionism comes from. It's where, you know, I should be further along. I don't want to fuck up and fail because people are going to judge me and criticize me. Like no one has a fear of failure. Nobody. I every week someone says, oh man, I just don't want to fail. I got the fear of failure. You don't have the fear of failure. We all I fail every fucking day. Failure is success and failure is the only way to move forward. If you learn from the failure, if not, you're a bit of a knucklehead. But humans naturally fail to learn. So failure isn't a bad thing. It's actually a good thing providing you learn from it. The reason why people don't like to fail is because they don't like the judgment that comes from failure based on either past experience or the people that they're hanging around. So you have these implanted values and this, let's say father comes home and they're a business owner and they get home from work and they're stressed because they're not where they want to be and they have this fantasy that life's going to be easy when they have all this money and they think they've got all this pressure and they're not dealing with customers or staff effectively because they haven't done the training or they haven't developed themselves enough in those skill sets. So then they get home and they're stressed out and they're caught in their head. And then the kids are screaming and everything like that. And they can feel the fucking frustration building up. A lot of that is because of the implanted values and the pressure that they're putting on themselves to be further ahead than what they are. If they just hone back and they just go, you know what? I'm not that good at business. Because that's the truth, right? If you were good at business, you'd be fucking crushing it. I'm not that good at business. If not, I'd have $100 million business versus a multi-million-dollar business. So when I look at that, I go, cool, how do I get better at business? Well, I got to keep fucking up, making more mistakes. But at the end of the day, I just work. And when I want to rest, I just rest. I don't push myself too hard. Whereas when I was younger, I was like, got to get shit done because if I don't get shit done, I'm going to fail. And if I fail, then we're going to fuck up and I'm not where I want to be. And, you know, I should have a $100 million company by now. And all this pressure is just building up. That's not my pressure. That's pressure from the fantasies and the delusions that I've created, thinking that when I get somewhere, I'm going to be more valued, more appreciated. Life's going to be easier. All of that stuff's bullshit. First of all, no one ever sues a broke person. So all these dickheads that are out there that are going financial freedom, there's no such thing as financial freedom. I've worked with some of the richest people in this country. I've been their private coach. They now have more legal issues, more accounting issues. The government try to fuck them. The ATO try to fuck them. There's someone trying to sue them. They have more staff problems. You get more problems the more money you make.
There are problems at every level, but I want to bring it back to the guy who's, I'm not that good at business.
Yep.
I don't add that much value. Such a powerful frame.
Yep.
That's a life-changing frame. I can also see how a lot of men would hear that or even say that out loud and go into despair.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So you say that to yourself and then you go, what am I going to do about it? But what about the men who hear that and go, I'm a piece of shit, and then they go into that fucking spiral?
You're a piece of shit because of the comparative that you have to other people. You're not a piece of shit. You're just a dude that woke up this morning and you're just having a day. That's all it is, right? If you just strip back all the bullshit, right, we tend to get too caught up in our emotions and what we think we should be versus just dealing what it is, right? And then the other thing, there's a famous philosopher called Schopenhauer, and Schopenhauer said we become ourselves to the extent at which we see others in ourselves. So you said like the supercar before and someone, you know, can judge me or whatever and think, you know, what a fucking asshole or whatever. I am an asshole. Now what? Like, do you feel better about shit? Because I don't feel any different. I know I'm an asshole because I become myself to the extent at which I see others in myself. And I am an asshole.
And do you know what's funny about that? The people that will judge you hearing this right now are the same ones who judge themselves so deeply.
100%.
Who are unhappy and who don't know how to enjoy life to the level that you do. Bro, it's inspirational. Like for me, hearing you speak, it's not just the money you've made and the multiple successful moments you've had. It's seeing you love life. Like that is such a rare fucking thing for men these days to actually wake up and go, fuck yeah, life's fucking hard. I love it, baby. That's so rare, right?
Life is hard, but it's also easy as well. We make it hard.
I love that. I love that. So let's tie that to stress.
Can I just say, I just want to add one thing because this is fucking awesome. I could be on here for like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
One of my good friends and a client of mine, and he also coaches me as well. So we sort of coach each other in different areas. His name's Damien Ryder. He's got 20 world records and shit like that. Ultra endurance athlete. He does like crazy extreme shit.
Yeah.
And he one day he goes, "How's business going?" And I said, "Yeah, man, I've been working hard." And he goes, "Why have you been working hard?" And I said, "Oh man, there's heaps of shit going on." He's like, "Sounds like you're working, brother."
I love that.
Why's it got to be hard?
Yep.
We add the hard into the work. It's just fucking work.
Yep.
And what it made me realize is like people will define their life by using these emotional terminologies because it creates connection between others. But it's also the thing that keeps us trapped emotionally and shit.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, emotions are there, but emotions are there to guide us in life. They're not there to define our life. And most people define their life by their emotions instead of letting it guide them. Yep. Like people don't have a shit day. You have a day and normally 1 or 2 things happen that were shit. And then you define your whole day by the shit thing that happened.
And you hold on to it the entire day.
Yeah.
This is so pertinent right now because I spoke to my mentor. His name's Goose McGrath. He runs Dashdot. Okay. I think it's the 12th fastest growing company in Australia, 120 staff. And I was complaining to him about 3 months ago about getting back on sales calls in the business. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking do sales. I should have a team. Like I've been doing this for 8 years. And he goes, Tony, it's all just stuff. Whether you're marketing or selling or creating, it's all just stuff. So why does it matter what stuff you're doing, whether you enjoy it or not? Fuck the emotion. What are the facts? And I'm like, I teach that. And it's so true. If you can remove the emotion, you're allowed to feel emotions. You're a fucking human, but remove the emotion. Look at the facts. This is life. It's not hard. It's just work. It's just stuff. Then there is no difficulty. There is no challenge, right? It's just fun.
Yeah.
Life becomes fucking fun.
Well, I don't even know that it becomes fun because if you remove the fun from it, it's just life.
It just is.
Because people say that to me all the time. They're like, they'll say things to me like, well, you're happy. I couldn't tell you if I'm happy because I don't think about it.
You just live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, there are times where I can have moments of happiness, but like all emotions, it comes and goes. I remember hearing DeMartini say this like fucking 15 years ago and I didn't get it. But now I get it. The more you work on yourself, the more you actually live it. You can have fulfillment or you can have emotions. Life can be fulfilling, but it's not emotional. Most people mistake emotions for words like gratitude, love, peace, and presence and shit like that, right? So the mystics talk about these words, which are just ways of living, right? So you can't have peace unless you're present. But you can't be present while emotions are there because then you're not present, you're caught in your emotions. So if you go back and you study the great mystics, love, peace, inspiration, and gratitude are all just states of being. They're not emotions, they're states. And so when you're in a state of being, you just are there. But that doesn't last. It lasts like, I can sit at the beach and my mind goes clear and I'm at peace and I'm like just inspired and I'm grateful for the life that I have. But it lasts like fucking 2 seconds and then all of a sudden something pops into my head and I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I got to get that done and this has to happen. And then I'm off again on this like fucking journey of life and shit.
Yeah.
So we have moments of peace, we have moments of love, we have moments of gratitude. But people think that they're supposed to be like, I people all the time in the spirituality industry say shit like, you know, I'm grateful. When specifically?
It's so true though, because you could be grateful one moment and not the next.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's okay.
Yeah.
People say, I've got depression, I've got ADHD, I've got anxiety. No one walks around saying, I've got happiness.
I know.
So we label these negative things and we become attached to them.
Yep.
Like you said earlier, pain versus pleasure. This is mind-blowing stuff. Anyone listening, like really think about how often you do this in business, in marriage, in life. We label these negative emotions. We have these embedded beliefs and values, and we think that's who we are. But it's just life. And if you can be, like you said, it's states of being. If you can just be in life, life becomes so much more fun.
Totally. And that's what I think that's the thing. Like, I don't crave happiness or I don't crave fun because that craving is the impulses that then push us back into pain. Like then people go, Confucius said, right, the key to unhappiness is chasing happiness. And like, it's such a simple quote, but most people don't get it. They're like, man, I just want to be happy. And it's like, why? Right? It's like, I don't know. There's this thing of like, life is a journey, and it is a journey. But you can say that, but you have to live the journey of life. And the journey of life is like, I look at I'm looking for frameworks in things all the time to help me think through and navigate life. And I'm no fucking master, and I'm not Jesus. I don't walk on water and shit. Like, I have my days. I get stressed out. I get frustrated like everybody, right? But there's like common principles that if you just follow, life gets so much easier. So there's like the law of balance, which is that all emotions have their polar opposite. So people are normally depressed because they compare life to what they think it should be. Like, if you ever ask someone who's depressed, you go, how should life be? What will happen is their idea of life is completely different to the way they're living. That big gap makes them depressed because they go, yeah, but I should be here. I should be achieving more. Yeah, but you're not. So if you just live life the way that it is, it's a lot more enjoyable. You have that. You get people all the time, or I get people all the time, and they're like, I'm not happy. Well, why aren't you happy? Well, because I'm not doing all these things. And if you had all those things, you'd be happy. Yep. Well, the thing is, you don't have them. So how long are you going to be unhappy for until you get those things? And then when you get them anyway, you realize that happiness wasn't in those things. Happiness is within you, but you can't find your own inner happiness. So therefore, you're never going to be fucking happy anyway.
Yeah.
I just try to break down those frameworks. Like, every emotion has their polar opposite, and it's a big pendulum that swings. So I don't chase emotions, right? I don't really give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
The second thing is that every decision has a consequence. So in order to live a more balanced life, the consequence is that I don't have the high highs that some people have. I don't really get excited about shit. I don't get like overjoyous. I don't fucking jump around and get all hyperactive. I'm naturally hyperactive, but I just don't chase that. The consequence is that maybe my life isn't as exciting as other people's. But those people who chase excitement, they're also the people who have heavy, hard crashes as well.
Yeah, it's the high, and then the crash.
low.
It's like doing MDMA. You know, you're very happy, and then you just have depression. But that's how most people live in their lives, right? Is they take this drug, which is internal. And the word that keeps coming up for me as you speak is choice. All of this is a choice. You choose what you focus on. You choose your perspective. You choose your emotions. You choose your states. It's who you're being. Now, we do need to jump off soon. We're going to have to do a part 2. What's the number one choice you would recommend somebody makes after listening to this whole podcast? I know there's so many. To live a life of success, financial freedom, mental freedom, emotional freedom, time freedom. Those are the 4 types of freedom that I like to focus on. What's the number one choice you'd recommend for somebody to make to get closer to that?
Freedom is an internal state. So you're free when you decide how you want to live. And that's it. But there's always a consequence to every decision. So the decision that I made to be more financially independent than most people is that I work harder than most people. I put in more hours than most people. I have to consistently deal with constraint after constraint after constraint in my business and overcome them. I've got to deal with judgments and criticisms of others because you never please everybody all the time, especially if you run a business. So you just have to deal with all this shit, but it's an internal game. It's not an external game. I think too many people get caught up in this external idea of what freedom looks like versus the internal game, when really it's an internal game. Like, financial freedom is money will give you more opportunity, which makes people feel more free, providing that you've already found freedom in yourself. If you don't, you're fucked, right? Because you'll just make more money and still feel trapped. And you'll just be one of those, I meet them every now and again, and they're the guy that goes, I've got like $20 million in property. And you go, then why the fuck are you driving a Corolla and look like shit and dress like a poor person? Well, I don't want people to know that I'm rich. You are rich. Yeah, but I don't want people to know, because then they take shit from you. So you're worried about people taking shit from you. So you're insecure and afraid all the time.
Even though you have $20 million of property.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. Right? I don't care. Like, you drive whatever you want to drive. Because I have people come to me in my community and stuff like that, and they go, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should buy a nice car. And I go, well, car's important to you? No, not really. Then
don't buy a fucking car.
A car.
Yeah.
Right? But what's important to you? I had a property developer come to me a little while ago, and he goes, I want to go on a trip with my family, but I don't know about business class tickets. Like, are they worth it? And I said, I love business class. Why? And I said, well, because you just get to chill, get to relax. I don't really have jet lag when I get there because I've had a proper sleep. I normally try to fast as much as I can, but I feel better. I get more work done. I'm more productive. And he goes, oh, and he goes, but they're not really worth it, are they? And I go, well, how do you live life? In my head, everything is return on investment and everything is a liability or an asset. So when I fly, the question is, what's my return on investment if I'm flying business class? I'm more productive. I get more shit done. When I land, I don't have jet lag, so I don't have 2 to 3 days of feeling like shit. Is it worth it for me? Yeah. Do I feel better about life because I fly business class? Fucking oath I do. So can I make more money that way? Hell yeah. So to me, the ROI is good. When you look at it and just go, well, it's money in, money out, it's not worth it. So everything that I look at is just ROI. What I found is that broke people think about cost, and you can have shitloads of money in the bank and you're still fucking broken. So everything to me is ROI, and it's an asset or a liability. The people you hang out with are assets or liabilities. Your family's an asset or a liability. The shit that you read, the stuff that you view is an asset or a liability. The question is it making you better or is it keeping you stuck? So I just try to define things in those frameworks. And so when it comes down to like, you know, the most important thing, just keep working on yourself. Just be a better version of yourself every fucking day, because the truth is you're going to get your ass kicked most days. Life's going to be tough. You're lifting heavy shit every day if you want to achieve great things, just like at the gym. There's going to be people who judge you and criticize you, but they're external, they're not internal. They're only going to bring up triggers that you already have on the inside so that you can deal with them and keep moving forward. And other than that, life's just lessons and tests, right? You learn a whole bunch of lessons just like at school. Then you get a test. If you pass the test, you go to the next grade. If you don't, you fail the test, you repeat the grade and you repeat the fucking lessons. A lot of people want, you know, level 15 results, but they're so scared of dealing with the test at level 3. It is what it is, right? You will be rewarded with your ability to pass the tests that life deal out to you. You want to make more money? Then you better start dealing with the financial challenges you have at this level, because if you can't pass them at this level, what the fuck makes you think that you're going to pass them at the next level?
So true.
Same as the health test. Like, man, it's hard when I'm traveling all the time and shit like that to look after your health. But, you know, it is what it is. It's just a different challenge, different day. You just, do I pass the test all the time? Nah, fuck, I repeated plenty of them.
But when you don't pass the test, aka fail, you tell yourself that it is what it is. You get back up and you keep fucking moving.
Well, I ask myself what I have to learn from it.
Yep.
Right. And sometimes, so I'm a normal human. Like, I'm no fucking gifted individual. I'm just doing my thing. But sometimes, you know, I got to cop the same punch to the head, you know, 20 or 30 times before I learn the lesson, just like everybody else. So.
And that's okay.
Sorry that I interrupted.
No, you're absolutely fine. You don't have to apologize. This is absolute fire. And for anyone listening right now, where can they find you? Like, where's the best place to find your work?
Yeah, just Google Michael Mojo. You can find me on Instagram. I think if you just look up Michael Mojo, you'll probably
see a lot of supercars.
No, you see them every now and again. I mean, my team get hooked on that shit because they'll post stuff because it gets a lot of likes and shit. Yeah. But you know, it's just one part of my life. You know, I got supercars, but I'm also a friend. I'm also, you know, a husband. I've also got a community. Like, I love studying, I love learning. So there's a lot of different aspects to my life, just like everybody else.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, brother. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
If you want to actually take this framework that I shared and apply it to your life, it's part of our Empowered Man Armory and our app that we've spent almost 250 grand on. If you want access to a powerful system where you can use this reframe system I just shared with you every single day, then find me on Instagram at Tony Empowered Man, TonyEmpowedMan. I'll put the link down below as well. Send me a DM saying reframe, and I'll give you this exact framework as well as early access to the Empowered Man app when it launches.